Hey there, and welcome to Discover Fairbanks. I'm sitting with Sabrina Bingley at Spruce Tree Montessori here in Fairbanks, and wanted to take a little bit of time. It's a little bit of a different video. We're going to talk a little bit about Spruce Tree Montessori, its history here in Fairbanks, and really just talk about the unique opportunity that Spruce Tree offers here in town. We were kind of caught off guard one night when we went to go pick up our son at the child care center that he was in, and he made some reports that things weren't as great as we had thought that they were. So we were faced with a decision that very night that he wasn't going to be going back to that same center. And we needed to find a place quick, fast, and in a hurry. And it just so happened that one of our good friends, Laura Back, had said, hey, you should try Spruce Tree Montessori. And we made some phone calls and we were able to speak and meet with Sabrina, and we had a fantastic experience. So I wanted to share what we learned with you, especially if you're headed to Fairbanks, or we were here in Fairbanks and didn't really know what we had. So thank you again, Sabrina, for meeting with us and having this conversation.
Sure.
I obviously know a thing or two about Spruce Tree, but could you tell us a little bit about the history of Spruce Tree here in Fairbanks?
Sure. So I founded Spruce Tree in the fall of 2012. This was out of a need. My husband and I had finished really enjoying school at Fairbanks Montessori, which is a preschool and kindergarten. So our oldest son completed his kindergarten year there, and we really became passionate about the Montessori approach and realized that the only other Montessori school that offered the elementary level of programming was a charter, and they were full. And it's a lottery enrollment. It's very hard to get into. And so I did a little bit of research, and we opened Spruce Tree that fall with just 7 students and 1 teacher who came up to help me start the school from Minnesota. And then she stayed for a couple of years. The school grew within the first 4 years to about 60 students. And then we came to our new home here at the historic train depot downtown Fairbanks. And from there, we're up to about 100 students and 14 staff. And we have now a toddler program, so we start children at 15 months and up through 6th grade, the elementary years.
When we talked the other day, you had mentioned something I thought was pretty unique because I kept calling it a school, and you mentioned that you're going for less of a school and more of an education experience. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So one thing I love about the Montessori philosophy is it really allows teachers the opportunity to be so very creative. The underlying premise is to respect and follow the child. So we're able to really connect with children, find where they are, and then guide them through their educational journey. And at Spruce Tree, because we're a year-round school, our school year is pretty unique. We are August through June, and we take a couple of 2-week breaks in fall, winter, and spring, in addition to a 1-month summer break. And so we're really able to connect with students. We call it all seasons education. So it becomes an experience at Spruce Tree rather than just reading, writing, and math for the general school year. The other unique thing that our calendar offers for parents is that most families have the dual working family dynamic. And so our school is very supportive of a consistent routine for families. So during our breaks, we offer camp programming taught by our teachers in our school. It's a multi-age enriching experience, but it's a break from academics like we all know children need. So really our school is only closed 6 weeks per year, and then a few of the national holidays.
You mentioned that break before when we talked, and we talked a little bit about the how in a conventional school district school, how children are going back to school and having that kind of lull at the beginning of the year where they're having to kind of relearn things at the beginning of the next school year. Now, we're not necessarily seeing that here.
No, we are quite compelled, particularly at the elementary level, that we have really limited what's called summer learning loss. Because our breaks are short and they're sort of placed throughout the year rather than one long summer break, we've done sort of some experiments where children can be in the middle of a writing project and come right back to it where they left off. We noticed very little, if any, regression in math or numbers learning. The other really neat thing is science projects and cultural assignments like geography maps. students can just pick up right where they left off. So really believe that a 2-week break is just enough R&R, but it's not enough time for children to regress or sort of forget what they've just learned. So we don't spend a lot of review time, except for in the way of maybe classroom boundaries and expectations, so that the community building aspect is there at the beginning of the year. The academics, the children really can pick up right where they left off. And it's really fun to see how deep they can go into their learning rather than just checking boxes through a book.
Let's talk a little bit more about that community, because that was something that I definitely saw when Finnegan was here, and I absolutely saw it again when I was back here filming too, and in talking with teachers and talking with everybody that's ever been here. Community is a big part of the experience here.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, in the first couple of years operation, we developed just a cool place for students to come. Parents were connecting both in school and after hours. And what I realized is that unlike when we were kids, where you go to your neighborhood school, everybody lives in the same block and you ride your bikes to and from, that's really not how Fairbanks is set up. It's very much a driving city. There are some wonderful neighborhoods, but children have the opportunity now to go to schools that maybe are not very close to their home. And so Spruce Tree brings together parents who are interested in Montessori, they're interested in alternative educational models, they're interested in our unique school calendar, and they're interested in community. And so we've really taken community as something core to our values. And so to do that, we now have established years of really successful core events. So pretty much once per month, parents are invited into the school for various things, from Montessori Monday programs, which are sort of like our parent nights, but without kids. So it's an opportunity for parents to connect without their children at school. And we partner often with the Children's Museum for daycare, or we'll do daycare or childcare, I should say, in the gym or something like that. The other neat thing is we have events around the holidays, like Pie Day during Thanksgiving, where all students make a pie. We have our annual holiday program and party, complete with Santa and a reindeer here at school. And then as the winter goes on, we invite parents in for presentations by teachers. So it offers great professional development opportunities for our staff. We have our annual fundraiser in April. It's called Trivia and Tapas, and that's a really awesome opportunity for the adults in the community to bring their friends to an event. It's sort of a semi-formal themed trivia event where we raise money for the Friends of Spruce Tree, which is our scholarship fund. We're awarding scholarships to students for attendance at Spruce Tree and to teachers who wish to get their Montessori certification. And so it's a win-win fundraiser for the school in full. And then we've finished up the year with Garden Day and Field Day, and then our big celebration on the Riverboat Discovery.
The curriculum and the Montessori experience, the building itself, everything seems to be it's a little bit different from what parents might be used to, children might be used to if they've been going to a conventional school district school.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about that and the Montessori method a little bit?
Yes, thanks for asking. I love to talk about the environment at Spruce Tree, because you're right. A lot of times when parents come in for tours, they are taken a little bit. And the reason is the Montessori philosophy prepares the environment for the child. So everything is child-sized. Everything looks to the child, not the adult. The adult becomes a part of the environment. The Montessori teacher serves as a guide for the child, not necessarily the head of the class, so to speak. So when you walk into our school, you'll see that pictures are hung lower on the wall, not quite at child touching, but child viewing points. We don't have a lot of things on the wall. We really allow the architecture and the beauty of the environment to come through. We only hang, for example, framed art photos, framed children's art. We have a few train station, Alaska Railroad prints that we've put up to preserve the history. The classrooms are very well organized, and the materials are all purposely sequenced on the shelf, left to right, just like you read. So when a student goes to the sensorial or math shelf, everything is sequential left to right, just like they're supposed to learn how to read writing left to right. And so there's a lot of science behind Montessori, because Dr. Marie Montessori was a scientist herself. She was the first woman in Italy to be awarded a PhD. And because she couldn't practice medicine back then, she started working at a what used to be called like a mental institution, and she was observing children and creating reports. And what she realized is children were really learning more from the environment than from the person. And so when you come into a Montessori school, you go into the classroom and sit down to observe, which is a part of our admissions process, because we really want parents before they join us to understand that it is very different. And you'll see that children are working independently. They're working in pairs, they're working in small groups. There's very little whole class activity, except for when we're doing cultural or holiday lessons at a circle. Music or art lessons are often whole class, but students really have the opportunity to engage with things that they're interested in, not necessarily just ticking off boxes on a curriculum chart. And the other thing that's neat is everything is manipulative. So children learn through their hands and their senses. They learn by listening, touching, feeling, seeing. And then they also learn about self-discipline, because lessons are often organized on a tray or in a basket that they then take to their workspace, whether it's on the floor or at a table. They do the lesson to completion. They can do it many, many times. We actually rely on repetition toward mastery. When they finish, they put it back on the shelf where it belongs so the next child has the opportunity to try it. So we have, there's sort of a hidden philosophical rule of thumb that if a child leaves a lesson out, they are the only ones that will put that away, and we'll leave it out overnight. The janitors even know that rule, and they'll vacuum around that lesson that's on the floor or dust around the table. Because we want the child to have that self-awareness and the self-discipline to complete that mini work cycle, we call it. Getting the lesson out, doing the lesson to completion, repeating it as many times as they'd like, and then putting that lesson away. And that really creates a joy in learning because they're doing it by themselves. And so many of our lessons are also self-correcting. So once the teacher has given the lesson, we call it presenting lessons, then the child has the opportunity to do that lesson anytime they would like. So when you observe, you'll see children just kind of moving in all different directions, not doing the same thing. And it looks like very organized chaos. There's a little hum, like a bunch of busy bees. The child is with the teacher, I should say, is down on the floor, typically giving lessons to a child, quick lessons, and moves on, gives another lesson to another child, so that the whole community is learning, not only from the teacher, but from one another as well.
And what's really interesting about that, having seen it a few times, is that it looks like everyone's just out playing and like just playing with these little, at their little stations, but they're learning, and they're going through these lessons on their own. And once they're done, they'll put it away. They'll go on to the next thing, and it's pretty seamless.
Yeah,
like they'll just take care of it themselves, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, the child, they're working on themselves. And one thing I really appreciate about the Montessori philosophy is everything the child does at school is work, because they're working on their communication skills. They're working on their practical life skills, their care for self skills, their respect for self and respect for the environment skills, from everything from plant watering or animal care. They're working on learning numbers or math concepts. They're working on reading and writing. So it's what we call whole child education, where reading and writing are very important, but practical communication skills, peaceful conflict resolution skills, and social emotional learning are just as important as the reading, writing, and the math.
Let's talk a little bit about that too, because we were talking about funding in terms of how the school gathers its funding. What I had understood before, it was through tuition. Majority of it was through tuition, but then we had talked about trivias and tapas.
Right. So we are a tuition-based school. However, our main fundraiser, we raise about $40,000 each for the last 3 years, and that goes to support students' attendance through scholarships. So parents, we have a very simple application form. We do not collect any financial data from parents, but we award about $25,000 in scholarships per year through that fund, which has been increasing each year. So very fortunate and thankful for that. The other neat thing that a couple of years ago, when the state statute was signed into law, we partnered with Best Homeschool, which is the local district homeschool. and parents are able to dual enroll as a homeschool student with BEST and Spruce Tree Montessori with no additional time or academic work required for BEST. BEST basically visited us, and we qualified for our math, our reading, and our art programs. And so parents can get a stipend for attending here, and it's $2,700 per year. And that money follows the child, goes right to the parents just to support their financial commitment to Spruce Tree or whatever else might be in their budget.
If the biggest hurdle is a financial one, then it sounds like at least a quarter of that
Yes,
is
it comes out to about a quarter of the tuition here now.
amazing. But I mean, that's fantastic for especially for folks that are definitely feeling the pinch right now
Yes.
with inflation being what it is and housing being what it is. And
Yes, for sure.
gas and food, everything.
Yeah, we're happy to offer that. And really, we facilitate, parents have to go online and enroll their child in BEST, but then we facilitate the records each quarter that the parent needs to submit for those.
We had a chance to interview the teachers as well, Ms. Kirsten, Malika, and Ms. Jamie.
Okay.
And they spoke super highly of the school. They spoke super highly of working here. Said that it's essentially the absolute best place to be. And they raved about the culture, the community. How do you go about go through the hiring process to find just these amazing teachers for your school?
I'm glad. So we have an amazing team here. We have been fortunate to retain many of our wonderful staff. We have several that have been here upwards of 6-7 years now, and Ms. Kristen, our educational director, actually helped me start the Children's House program back in 2013. So she's been here almost the entire Spruce Tree history. But one thing I do is I really take professional development of my staff sort of under my wing. I was a volleyball coach right out of college, and I just sort of think of myself as a coach in many ways because they may or may not be here forever, and I really want to help develop these Montessori educators into professional whatever they want to be. Some would love to be in the classroom for 20 years. Others have other ambitions of taking their skills in different directions. And so we offer not only very competitive wages, we're at about 98% of the district's starting wages at this point, but we also have the most beautiful environment to work in. And then with that professional development commitment, all staff receive a couple $1,000s in their package for their own professional development allowance. So they can choose to go to a conference outside. They could go up to the university and take classes that are aligned with their role and their development or their goals. We had one of our teachers who's very much interested in yoga. So she did a 2-year yoga training program with her, became a certified yoga instructor, which benefits the school because she teaches yoga now in her classroom and sometimes even for the whole school. So I'm very open to letting the teachers follow their own path and create a journey for themselves through this budgeted professional development allowance. We also have opportunities for staff to present at Montessori Mondays. So the development of public speaking and meeting and connecting with parents, the customer service aspect of their work is supported very much so just through that culture. We're a very collaborative team and always looking for creative, kind, patient, and enthusiastic educators.
Talking about the children's development and the sense of community that they have here at the school, I noticed as just walking through, seeing them kind of picking up after themselves and kind of start to teach lessons to the other children around.
Yeah.
It's not like you would see in a public school. I mean, it's a little bit different, and it kind of seems like you're growing like little leaders here at school. Can you talk a little bit about that, what you're seeing there?
Yeah, well, that is all from that hallmark multi-age environment. Marie Montessori realized that children learn from their peers just as much as they do from a teacher or the environment itself. And so having the opportunity to be the youngest for a while and then the oldest for a while can really support that developmental period the child's in. So when I say we have a Children's House classroom of 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, over the course of the year, they're turning 4, 5, and 6.
we have a classroom of a community of learners. So we have our older students teaching our younger spontaneously. It's wonderful. And we see our younger ones really looking up to the older ones, understanding that they'll be there soon. And even by the end of the year, our very youngest children are leading activities or presenting during our community meeting, which is outside on the playground. The entire school and a 3-year-old might stand up and share their journal page and tell us a little bit about it. And it's just really fun to see that confidence come through. And then as the children get older, we have a mentorship program. So all of our elementary students become bigs for their littles. And so the mentorship program offers our elementary students an opportunity to connect with younger students in the way of reading and story time, doing math lessons together, playing outside, going to the gym together, and even cooking or baking projects that we do. We also have art opportunities for our mentorship pairs to engage in, and then those become fun connectors for the children throughout the year. And so the goal really from the beginning of the year is that all Spruce Tree students know all Spruce Tree students.
One of the things that I noticed Finnegan was here was that there is a huge amount of parent involvement, and that especially now that he's in public school, we were barely keeping up when it comes to parent involvement here. But in parent involvement at the public school, we were leading the charge. It's really kind of a unique thing to see it. Could you talk a little bit about the parent involvement here?
Yeah, I think it comes from the idea that we're developing community, and because our students, so every year we don't have a brand new set of students and parents. We have retention and older students in the same classroom. So it's almost like we have mentor parents for new parents. And we offer lots of ways to volunteer at Spruce Tree. And it really, we try again to offer the element of choice in all that we do. So parents have the opportunity to do things inside the school or outside the school, things like even snow plowing or snow shoveling or garden work, taking care of our chickens, to things like reading with kids. Sometimes that's not someone's cup of tea, right? But we offer parents the opportunity to come in to read to kids or allow kids to read to them. Do classroom projects like art or baking, just kind of serving as kind of a class mom or dad. The other neat thing that we've done a lot of in recent years is, what does my mom or dad do? Parents can come in and give a little short 15-20 minute presentation to their child's circle or class meeting and just talk about careers, and that really creates a sense of pride for the child of the parent, but also it connects that parent to their child's classroom. And as soon as a parent feels a connection, they really want to support the school and be more involved in the school. And so I think our kind of like, it's like every week there's things parents can do for the school. You can make Play-Doh and bring it in. You can do laundry and bring it in. So it really is things you can do at home or at the school, inside and out. And we've had a really good response to that ever since the very beginning. And it has worked to create connections among parents.
And we definitely saw that. It didn't take very long for us to want to participate.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh well, we've got to go to Montessori Monday. We've got to go. Like, what can we do to participate?
Right.
And it was a lot of fun.
Good.
We really enjoyed it.
Good.
So how do parents get started? Like, how do we get the ball rolling if we were interested in getting our son and daughter into Spruce Tree?
So our website, sprucetreemontessori.com, is a great introduction to the culture and the community of Spruce Tree. On our resources page, you can really find all the sort of top 10 things you might need, from our parent handbook to the admissions application. Our admissions process is a best fit selective process. So you submit an application, we schedule an observation for parents. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, we really want parents to see what's going on in the Montessori classroom before they commit. And so all parents are expected to come in for an observation and tour. And then if you feel like we're a good fit for you, we'll invite your child in for an enrollment interview with me or Kristen, who's our educational director. And from that interview, then we offer placement and acceptance into the school.
I remember doing my parent observation and sitting in Boreal classroom right there and sitting there and watching everything happen and seeing the buzz that you were talking about earlier. And
Good.
There were no children that were not afraid to walk up and just say, "Hey, who are you? What are you doing here?"
Right.
And
That's right.
it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think in closing, I think in my initial training many years ago, when I learned how to be a Montessori school administrator, one thing that stuck with me is that Montessori education is unique in that we're creating children who are critical thinkers. They're bold, they're resourceful, they're kind, and they're very self-disciplined in a way that I just don't see in other models of education. And it's because we let go of the control of the child and we allow them to really learn through their own interests at their own pace.
It's definitely what I'm seeing.
Oh, good.
For sure. I mean, then again, he went through 1 year of public school. He still carries on a lot of the same things that he learned here,
Yeah,
for sure.
wonderful.
So it's fantastic.
Good. I miss him.
So if you have questions, you want to talk with Sabrina, you want to learn more about Spruce Tree Montessori, you can hit up the website. We'll drop the link there in the description below. We'll also get the information for BEST, so that way you can look at some more information about the scholarship programs and all of the funding that you could possibly need. So if there are any hurdles that are in your way, please let us know. If you've got any questions at all about relocating to Fairbanks, about other opportunities for education, give me a call. My phone number is 907-885-0316. Have a great day.
Thanks.